Hey there, Bruins fans! Welcome back to BNG Hockey, where it's always black and gold. It's draft day in the NHL. Round 1 begins tonight, rounds 2 through 7 tomorrow. Most importantly, the Boston Bruins own a first-round pick this season. They will be selecting 30th overall in tonight's draft. Now, in no particular order, here are my 5 predictions for who we might select with the 30th pick. Starting things off is 18-year-old Alex Vlasic. He is a 6'6" left shot defenseman. In 61 games with the U.S. National Development Team, he had 27 points. I think he'd be a great fit for the Boston Bruins. First off, he is going to be attending BU, and we know how much the Boston Bruins love the local guys. Whether you're going to college here, whether you're from here, they love to pick guys with connections to New England. I also think he would be a tremendous replacement for Zdeno Chara, because I think even though Chara can hurt the Bruins at times, it seems, he's still one of your best defensemen, and you're going to miss having that big presence on the penalty kill, even on 5-on-5. Chara's just a big man who takes up a lot of space. No matter how old or slow he is, you're going to miss that. So this kid could come up and at least help ease the pain a little bit. He's not as big as Chara, but he's still pretty huge. And can you imagine a D pair of Vlasic and Carlo? Carlo is 6'5". Vlasic, as I told you, is 6'6". That would be a huge D pair, even going next to Charlie McAvoy, who's not small himself. Next up is 20-year-old Brett Lease. He is a 6'4" right winger. In 55 games in the WHL, he recorded 89 points. He might have to fall to the Bruins for them to make this selection, but you never know what the GMs are going to do at the draft. All of these are just predictions, but I think this kid would be perfect for what Boston needs. And he is 20 years old, so it's not totally crazy that he makes the roster, or at least is 1 or 2 years away instead of 2 or 3 years away like one of the 18-year-old prospects. But you never really know. But the Bruins could really use a top 6 winger with size. And this kid being a 6'4" right wing, he could play with Bergeron and Marchand, or he could play with Krejci and DeBrusk. And if he's really ready, I would be totally fine with that. Or, like I said, you develop him into that top 6 winger, and he'll be here in 1 to 2 years, and that would be perfect for the Boston Bruins. Next up is 18-year-old Samuel Poulin. He is a 6'1" winger. From what I could find, he can play left and right wing. He is a left shot, though. He played 67 games in the QMJHL, recording 76 points. Much like Leeson, I think he could bring some good size to the top 6. 6'1" is not small. He would probably be 2 or 3 years away from developing into a roster player, only because he's 18, but he does bring a good amount of skill. He was an assistant captain, so that's great leadership ability. You like that, whether he's going through Providence or even in Boston, he could develop into one of your future leaders, but that's way down the road and not something you're thinking about too much at the draft, but definitely adding a skilled winger to have depth at the wing position would be a good idea for the Bruins. Next up is 18-year-old Robert Mastrosimone. He is a 5'10" winger, a little bit on the smaller side, but recorded 60 points in 54 games in the USHL. He is also going to be attending Boston University, just like Vlasic. We talked about how the Bruins love that local connection, so I think this kid is definitely on their radar. He is a small, skilled type forward, maybe your Brad Marchand replacement down the road, who really knows, but I think if you're looking for that skill on the wing, which I think the Boston Bruins are, it always seems to be a need, that we need more wings, we need more wings, we need more wings, and I've already talked about a couple earlier on in this video, but I think if they're going for a small, speedy, skilled kind of guy, this is your man. This last one, I will admit, is a bit of a stretch, but, you know, these are just predictions, and I figured I'd throw it in there. 18-year-old Spencer Knight, a 6'3" goaltender. That's right, goaltender. I figured it's time for the Boston Bruins to start restocking the pipeline of the tenders. And I know they're not afraid to make a top selection for a goalie because they picked Malcolm Subban relatively recently. And that showed me that, hey, we're fine using a first or second pick to get a goaltender. We saw how much better Tuukka Rask was when he had rest, when he had a guy he could depend on when he wasn't really feeling it in the middle of the season. Jarl Halak did that for him. Even Qdobin last season did that for him. Spencer Knight would light a fire under Tuukka Rask, saying that I gotta be better, I gotta keep going so that I am gonna be the number one goaltender. Rask played really good in the playoffs, and that was because he had someone he could rely on. Spencer Knight could absolutely do that for the Bruins. Halak signed for just this year. They could let him go, and hopefully at that time, this kid will be ready because he's just that good. Oh, and did I mention he's going to BC? So there's that local connection for Don Sweeney. So this is more of a wishful thinking pick for sure. I don't even think the Bruins could go up to go get him. You never know who's going to fall. Why not take a shot at it? Spencer Knight. That finishes my list. So there you have it, my list of 5 players I think the Boston Bruins could select with the 30th overall pick. I'd love to know who you think the Boston Bruins could or should select. Feel free to leave that down in the comment section. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to give it a big like, and if you haven't already, subscribe.